And in response to that, he came back with, I do not remember this, requesting hire and a canopy top in the last enclosure. I believe you've given it to him because you're getting an attitude of gratitude. You're getting the thank you for the high canopy, if that means something to you. Because I haven't looked around to say, is it a high canopy? But you got a thank you.
Good, thank you.
This is a great enclosure. This one apparently is less exposed. And it looks like wherever he was before, you would have had pretty, not quite 360, but people could have gone pretty much all the way around. This is more secluded. He shows this is larger than the last, and he also shows high canopy, which is fantastic. So I have that he's really happy in this location.
Yes. And this is huge. It's the biggest enclosure in Central America and the only walk-through. But when we put them in there, it's too dangerous to have people go walking through. But yes, and he loves, there's trees growing in here, and, you know, I mean, and he can go so far back, you could never find him. Yes.
So you've got him coming forward. I believe his coming forward was simply to say thank you.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly.
Nina?
Okay.
Should I get her over here?
No, you're okay. So it's Nima.
Yeah.
Okay. Expected to. I simply said Nina. She shows herself in a position that you would describe more rounded and isolating herself. I always feel a little nervous because I don't know anything about the species.
Right.
Her instant thing is to share that she would be in a, what do you call it, family, pack, herd. She shows in usual circumstances at this time in her life, she would be surrounded by family and she would be seeing, I'm not sure if it's as the grandmother or the matriarch. So I believe part of it, she's missing someone. She's missing an individual in particular, and then she shows family members, like grandmother, like she would be a grandmother and there's others around her. I think that's her way to tell you she's not only missing, she's had a loss of another significant individual in her life, which has been difficult to move through, another monkey. And then the second piece she shares is, in normal circumstances, I'd be surrounded by family. Does that mean anything to you? And I can continue, but that's her first opening speech.
To me, because she's never known to have the family around her, it's humans. And Barbara and I used to, and Danny, we used to carry her all the time because that's what she needed. And we would always be in contact. And now we've got the rule that the government says we can't. So it's humans. I really see it. It's me, Danny, and Barbara.
And as you're speaking, sometimes sit behind my eyes, as you're speaking, I'll show the scene I can see. It is not this enclosure, I'll describe it. It'd be an enclosure that's more kind of this shape, not that large. Here would be covered, people would come this way, and she too, I class it as either food as reward or clicker training. She's showing that she's being trained to be doctored. So yeah, there would be an action she makes and she gets rewards, but it's an enclosure. We come in from here, and she's also stating that that's a big part, but it doesn't look like it's this one. It's not this one.
No,
it's
definitely
another
not.
enclosure.
Yes, it is.
And we're not having that anymore. Does that make sense?
He needs space. Okay, so we had to move them to the largest enclosure for him. And it's harder for her. Although she does have her little niche right up in there.
Okay.
And, you know, and she's got little places she can go and hide. See, there she is right now.
Yeah.
But it's not, maybe we could put something around it to make her feel more secure in a smaller place. Because she can't go back to a smaller place. No, she has to live here. And Darwin would never survive. And they're a couple. In other words, when she fell one day to the ground and was unconscious, he went crazy, you know, like trying to help her. And then he fell one day and went unconscious, and she did the same thing. So they really love each other, but they don't show it until
connected. But he's younger.
Yes.
She shows him quite, not kind of couple male female, more connect. Yeah, exactly.
Totally.
She came back with younger, not marital kind of thing.
Right, Nina. Yes, and I get the ages wrong. She's 27, and I think he's 8, but he could be 10 or 12 now, because I always forget. I know he was 8 when he came, so that was, or maybe he was 4. Anyhow, he's much younger. No, I'm surprised she's not coming today.
She also, there seems to be, or have been, I can't quite tell if it's past or present, but I think she's referencing a different area, not this, where there was an activity to do with medical that she saw great value in. The value wouldn't have simply been medical, of receiving treatment, it would have been the interaction.
Right.
And she's showing missing that. Does that mean anything?
Yeah, so that it's almost like with Boosh, that it's not per se clicker training, but training. That's what she's missing.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe they're feeling that she doesn't need it anymore, but that was a comfort to her.
Correct.
So we'll do it with both of them.
Well worded. Yeah, that's exactly it.
So Nina, you're going to get your needs met.
That's it. Let me... Yeah, so living out here, fabulous, because we've got her with the needs she needs, and yet the piece would be the human interaction was positive always here. So to have a door shut and a deprivation is a negative in her world.
Totally.
So it's not a negative association with humans, it's quite the contrary, that she says,
she misses
I would need that.
And we're not allowed to do that anymore.
And there might be a go around for that somehow.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
with training, you know, some kind of
yeah,
training.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because we want to show people that they're not good pets, and Nina just loves to hold on and never let go.
So it's to her detriment then, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. It is.
So she might need that, and that could help. But let me see if that might be your primary and only thing that's showing this. And she's repeating it time and time with different scenes and different moments to share. For example, that putting fingers through and having it stroked is not enough, because it's like somebody being behind a wall. And she then shows another scene of, can we remove barriers for that?
Yes.
And she's doing every angle she can to tell you, this is what I'm missing.
And I know.
No, I said to her, Jennifer knows, she understands what you're saying. And I came back with, she's going to do some thinking around this as to how we could give you what you need without it being in the public eye, or give you what you need without somebody misunderstanding what's going on here.
Good.
To let her know that we've got a restriction in place, that privately maybe there's a go around to be able to give her what she needs.
Good.
Does that sound okay?
Yeah. Did you hear that?
I'm going to still ask her, say, is there anything else? Because she's really utilising her time well and coming straight to it to say, this is the issue. Let me ask her about the physical. I said, physically, it would be wonderful if you shared something about yourself. I heard that you're a little older. Without looking at her and knowing which arm looks different, she's pointing out the right shoulder, whatever that means to you. I'd love to look at her and then go, which one has the issue? But she's showing right shoulder. So one has more stress on it than the other. That's the first thing. Shows herself on the more slimmer side, but is eating. That's the big thing too. She's not depriving herself from food, and she is eating. Must be an indicator whether or not she eats or not.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. Anything you want to ask? Ask anything.
No, I was just trying not to interact with her while you were talking, but I kind of want to just say hi. Nina.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nina. Nina. Come on. And you're right, it is the right arm. Nina. That's her response when I talk to her.
It's as though she's given up on the fact she can't touch you. And it's not you Jennifer. So
Right.
you know, so often we wonder: is it the fact I'm not here enough, or have I done something? I don't think it's anything to do that. So it's not if we come and go. I get the clear impression from her she's kind of given up with that. I can't get touch.
Yes.
And the through the bars might have worked for a little bit, but it's not quite enough anymore.
Yeah, honey. Sweetie, it's okay. And you were right about the right arm.
It's the right arm.
I never paid attention before yet. Nina, I want to show them something. Come on, honey. Here.
You know, I said in my head just then, you're welcome. And I really wish that it would be lovely to see you. Just do that for a moment.
Yeah.
See, that brings tears to my eyes. Yeah, all these governors, laws, and they want it, you know, because that's all they know.
And I wanted to show you, that's her clitoris. That's her clitoris.
Excuse me.
Hangs down. They all do. It's an oddity with spider monkey. See it there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't want to worry. I wanted her to have a moment with you.
Yeah.
She seems to yearn for it so much.
Yes. And a lot of times when I give her attention, Darwin comes over and tries to steal the attention. Right, honey? I know.
The movements were different.
And there's only 3 of us that can do it, that touch her. Yeah, and Barbara never comes anymore, so I'll tell her if she gets a chance to come down. And Dan is, in the nursery. Good girl. Good girl, Nina. You can go now. Yeah. So you don't see that she's depressed? That's the question I did have.
You know, the depression that I get is the association of the lack of human interaction. I saw it as lack of family, and when you kept going, I thought it's a way for her to say, I don't have a pack of my own, and I don't have the human interaction.
Yes.
She might have company, but she doesn't have either anymore.
Right, Nina? We're going to try to change that. We're going to do some training with you. The problem is training with her, he gets so jealous, he comes over right away and tries to steal the show. So we would have to have one person that he loves, and then me here. Right, Nina? Good girl.
And her weight, she showed her weight in accordance to what she would be at her age.
Yes, exactly.